I am a glutton. In all regards, I have for myself veneration that is by very little means legitimate. It is foolishness to proclaim that in the eyes of others you are great, settling for null, void perceptions, not only settling, but allowing them to take root. For most people, to sit and be calm is hard. Not only that, it's relatively negative. The spirit, when idle, becomes aggressive, too bit, oppressive, cruel. We just sit here and feed, feed in as if consuming some sort of media, playing into some spectacle, and then realizing it and falling right back into the same trick. It's hilarious how paradoxical the world is. Intrinsically, my conscience is counterintuitive, superimposed in disorder. Yet, I obviously gaze at the stars and grasp for good, doing righteousness. Externally, drawing comparisons and projecting learned things into anything or anyone beyond nominalistic, the vanity egregious. He would deny self the most vocal truths, all to abet in the same delusion that he swore he would thwart. These prayers have to be ill received by the spirits. Mercy, why do you deserve mercy? It is entertaining. That's so fucking. I was writing that it's just a log. It's so fucking weird. In the beginning, I say I am a glutton. Everyone, we're also. I have for myself veneration that is by little means legitimate. It is foolishness to claim that in the eyes of others you are great. That's real. That's the realest shit that I've ever heard. I love hearing that from other people than myself. That self awareness, we really don't have divination. Humans, we think we're good just as a baseline. We think that we are good. I don't have that shit. I'm trying to kill it. Like there's reasons why you have to be good. You don't become good from just saying I was born good. If anything, everyone's born wicked, evil, with no morality, no ethic, no piety, no virtue. And then I afford myself veneration that is by little means legitimate. He knows that he is sinful, and I know that I'm a wicked person. I know that I act in a manner that is unsightly, uncouth, unscrupulous. Whether it's my actions or my mind, I know that the veneration where when you sit there and you act as if you're so respectable and you're such a high the order, you're so venerable, when you fucking act like that with no divination, no discernment, it's foolishness to claim that in the eyes of others you are great. Only idiots walk around concerned with that. What the fuck? Overall, the whole world could hate you, and you could be the greatest person on the planet. And not just that, that's just a super hyperbolic way of explaining it. But overall, it's about your ego. It's about having control of your ego and disassociating from the collective conscious. Yeah, settling for null, void perceptions. Not only settling, but allowing them to take root. For most people, it's hard to sit and be calm. Not only that, It's relatively negative. The spirit, when idle, becomes aggressive, stupid, oppressive, cruel. That's something that I really do feel all the time. You have that internal dialogue, the intrusive thoughts. You could call it NPD, schizophrenia, whatever you want to call it. However you want to project. Uh, categorize it or fucking like whatever you want to make it out to be. However you want to fucking um what is the word? However you want to encapsulate those ideas. But you're sitting there and you have phantasms in your head, you know? They say neurologists and scientists and honestly anyone who's being true to themselves, you spend like 50% of your day in fucking daydreams and lulls, like not actually even really doing anything real. The imaginings of the mind. And when you feel, I say, settling for void perceptions, not only settling but allowing them to take root. It could be those edgy, trashy jokes that you wish you stopped making, and you know they aren't hurting anyone, but they're hurting you. They're afflicting you, because you fucking hate that you keep doing it. And sometimes it's not the time for making those jokes. God damn it. Fucking It's, it comes, and then you allow it to take root. It's not only settling for it, but allowing it to take root. Pretending, pretending. For most people, to sit and be calm is hard. Not only that, it's relatively negative. The spirit, when idle, becomes aggressive, two-bit, oppressive, and cruel. The two-bit part comes from um not not picking something and going with it. You lack the discernment, and so you really go into the uncertainty. It opens up a duality, or your logic and your ethics. All of it is intersecting. All the lines are coming across. It's conjecture, a conjunction, and then you become uncertain. That's real fucking life. Void perceptions, settling. Yeah, yeah. You're not only settling, but your part in it is to take action. You have to stop allowing them to take root. For most people, to be calm and aggressive. What is that? We lash out. There's so many philosophies where you hear them talking about, for example, the white wolf and the black wolf. You have to feed them both, because if you don't, it's gonna lash out. But just what is that all about? Why is the mind so unbridled, unrestrained, immodest? Why are we so attached and like egotistical? I swear. You become aggressive, and then the two-bit is the duality part, oppressive and cruel. Oh my goodness. Once you see the complexities, we start to act like we're wards, and we have like the power to weigh over the entire realm. like this is where you start to feel as if you're the one that needs to be the judge. You're the one that needs to see to it that reciprocity comes through. I swear. They say stop trying to be God, because there's a lot of people who they get to that point where they are above the gradient. They do um transcend the status quo, and they start to get too full of themselves. They become benign. Benign. We just sit here and feed as if consuming some sort of media, playing into some spectacle, and then realizing it and falling right back into the same trick. It's just reality. Your self awareness. Your self awareness is so disgusting. What the fuck is the point of being self aware? I wonder sometimes. It's really that idle mind turns, they say it turns into a demon. It's not that. Demons, demons come from the idea that you don't have the capacity to go beyond the limitations of your perception. Some people believe them to be real apparitions, real spirits. I think that there's a lot of things, a lot of things that we could talk about, but that's not what we're talking about here. Just talking about yourself, watching yourself. Really, it's like you recall things, your memory, you cache it, you store it, you hold on to these things like scars, like karma. It's weird. Like you go to sleep thinking about some shit that happened at the beginning of the day. Uh, Playing into some spectacle and then realizing it, falling right back into the same trick. It's like the self-awareness. It's the same tool for recognizing things. It's the same tool for like going through situations, circumstances. And so when you apply it to the delusion or the the negative mannerisms that you have, like when you apply it to that and then you continue to use the same logic and all of it, it really messes with your facilities. It kind of inhibits you. You're like, wait a minute. It's hilarious how paradoxical the world is. Intrinsically, my conscience is counterintuitive, superimposed in disorder. Yet, I obviously gaze at the stars and grasp good, doing righteousness. That's intrinsic means that it's going inside. It's relative to things that refer to um like self. And so it's like imagine you're receding into yourself when you embark on that hermitage, and it's supposed to be a journey where you find yourself. Most of us don't have the capacity to pick up everything and go. So detach yourself from ideas, separate yourself from the bindings, and then you'll find the most minute, small little point of yourself. It's like Occam's razor. Like the most likely answer is probably the answer. You narrow it down. Um, yeah, intrinsically, my conscience is counterintuitive. That means that, the logic, you're proceeding in a manner where you're going against yourself. Most people know what counterintuitive. Superimposed in disorder. Yeah, I obviously gaze at the stars and grasp good. Superimposed in disorder. That's literally me saying, like, the wickedness. It's so preposterous. Like, we are insufferable creatures, like it's not even me. That's what he's saying. Superimposed in wickedness. It's just like the way that I am as a humanity, my being calls for a negative nature that I didn't ask for. It's just the way that things are. Like it's superimposed. like it's a principality almost. Um, but not only that, the superimposition comes from you having a mentality like that allows you to believe yourself a an evil, no, bad person. Like you put yourself there. Yet I obviously gaze at the stars, having desire, ambition, dream, reaching out, grasping good, doing righteousness. You can dream and have ambition and desire, but it's nothing without saying the grasping good and doing righteousness. Like you can want to be as good as you can, but if you don't ever act in a manner that really ingrained it or instilled it into your character, your avatar, your persona, to where you actually have it. You guys can talk about altruism and Jesus Christ as much as you want, but there is a necessity to do good for you. there is a necessity to do good for you. You need to attach yourself to the good, because if you don't attach yourself to the good that you do, then you're only gonna evoke the negative, and that's just real life. I could literally die on those words. You know what I mean? Like, superimposed in this order. Yet I obviously gaze at the stars and grasp good, doing righteousness. And then you move on to the next part of the conscious. No, intrinsically my conscious. No, it's hilarious how paradoxical the world is. Externally drawing comparisons and projecting learned things into anything or onto anyone beyond nominalistic. That's that's reality right there. That's the other half of it. So you have your internal part that I just explained earlier, but the external aspect of it. Yeah, you got these people, and you have tribalism, and then it's like you want to create a network, and there's so many endeavors and so many dynamics. Like you can just think of at the bare minimum politics, the government. You have officers, you have civilians, you have your peon type of blue collar workers, all that type of stuff. But beyond that, I say projecting learned things. It's like stereotypes, the hatred that we adopt. Um, projecting learned things. For example, it could be your parents told you something, so you took it to heart, or something happened to you, and so you took it to heart. And to project it is to literally like take something, an individual phenomenon, instance, like say you got robbed by a black guy, and then you know you go to a black neighborhood, and now you're on edge. You projected the thievery of one individual onto a whole group, and it could go it could go I think my cat just fucking farted or something. Anyway, it could go anyway. It could be a Caucasian person, a white person, an Asian person. An Asian person ran into me on the train, and they hit me. They hit me for no reason. So now, whenever I go to fucking Chinatown, I'm on edge. It's it's learned things beyond nominalism. It's beyond nominalistic. It's beyond that. Like to some degree, it became obsessive. You're now you really did allow them to slight you. You let your ego really feel slighted, so much so that you now have become beyond attaching these stereotypes and hate. You're just completely no, the vanity or egregious. He would deny self the most focal truths, all to abed in the same delusion he swears he would thwart. He would deny self the most focal truths, all to abed in the same delusion that he swears he would thwart. That's so real. Honestly, every day, every single day, you have things that you carry around, and we call it your karma, your burdens. Christians call it a burden. Other people call it karma. Everyone understands what it means to the what you did yesterday that you knew was wrong, and now you're feeling guilty. You got Edgar. Fuck all the theology. It's just here's a way better poem. It's an Edgar Allan Poe, A Telltale Heart. He's talking about some um fucking like the heart is beating under the floorboards, and he's talking about do not go gentle into that good night, something like that. It's just about the idea that your stress, the anxiety, it's building up to the point where you self destruct. Like look at a kid who say there's there's three kids who got in trouble because one of them did something wrong, and you interrogate them. The one that did something wrong, if they're young enough, is gonna literally self-snitch. They're gonna tell on themselves because the anxiety it builds up, and it's not just kids, right? There's niggas going to prison who we literally all call Gunna a rat for just saying it wasn't his. You know, that's real life. Everyone calls Gunna a rat, even though he just said it's not mine. But it was that self-preservation that kicked in, and it really acted in a counterintuitive manner. Like the whole goal is to subdue that spirit that makes you feel guilty, but you fucking just let it become exasperated. You let it take root. And so you say he would deny self the most focal truths all to a bed in the same delusion he swears he would thwart. That's me every fucking day. That's everyone every day, bro. We have fucking so much shit. The jokes, the jokes, all the fucking the terrible thoughts, all of the times that you told yourself you would do something and you didn't do it, all the times that you said you wouldn't do something and you did do it, all the times you ever turned on them for no reason, every single thing you ever had done wrong, you allowed it, and you just, it's about the gravest sin being knowing the word of God. And I'm not talking about the Holy Bible. Fuck that shit. Not talking about theological shit right now. But the idea of the word of God being the deeds, the actions of man that are true, you know, the things that you see that are ubiquitous everywhere, and they have been since the beginning of time for an eternity. Just the principalities and the dynamics of man and the spirits. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. It's just there. All that you know very well. Oftentimes, no, all the time. As a man, you know right from wrong. You weigh it. You have discernment. Unless you're an innocent little child that literally has never been taught or seen consequence a single time. You let's say you're a crackhead. You know you need to stop smoking crack. You stopped for 2 weeks, and then you allow that mentality in your head. I stopped for 2 weeks to get you to start smoking crack again. You know, you're still a fucking crackhead. Uh, hmm. The vanity egregious. It's like just the idea of that spectacle I was talking about earlier. The vanity egregious. It's so it has to do with that egotistical, boisterous, pompous, overzealous nature. It's the very first verses of this log. The very first um he says, I am a glutton in all regards. I afford myself veneration that is by very little means legitimate. And then you just say it again when you say that the vanity is egregious. He would deny self the most focal truths, all to abet in the same delusions that he swears he would thwart. You really do play this denialism, this nihilistic pessimist, whilst being the most devout, pious individual. Imagine knowing so well that you tell yourself it's all unreal. You know, the fool has fucking wings. He flies around doing whatever he wants. Hmm. So weird. Hmm. It's odd that you would even want to maintain that foolishness. Because there's some weird innocence that comes with it. He would deny self the most focal truths, all to abet in the same religion he swears he will adore. That's a real life right there. It's just every single day. Every single day. Why do we hold that shit? Why do we hold it in such high regard? It's like flipping a switch. It's dead ass like flipping a switch. Oh my goodness. I'm so fucking goofy creatures. Oh. You're supposed to be working towards becoming enadiomorphic, becoming chiral. If you really want something to change, you want to become different, then you have to take action in order to garner that aspiration. In order to get the demand, you have faith without works is dead. It's not a goofy mantra prayer. It's reality. If you don't if you don't move in a separate dimension from that miserable plight, from that um mundane depression, from that ill disorder, if you don't move in a separate dimension, almost like a fraction, where you separate your mind from all that and you say, I gotta stand in the cold, I gotta stand in the rain if I won't make it. If you don't put yourself there, whilst being in that dirty, dark, dingy place, if you don't try to become better than the place that you are, I know it seems impossible. It's almost like a flower, trying to grow a flower in a bed of weeds. It feels impossible. It feels like the battle's already lost. But there's only one way that you'll ever win. You gotta put in some type of genuine work. And I'm not saying that that comes from making money. I'm not saying that comes from getting a grind, getting a hustle. And that comes from you realizing the shit that I'm saying right now is 100% facts. It's just truth. There's no turning on it. It comes from acting on it. Action. Oh my fucking God. Jesus Christ. He swears that he would toward. These prayers have to be ill received by the spirits. Mercy. Why do you deserve mercy? I know you think that all the time. If you really do feel the words that I'm saying, I know that you've thought that before. It's like if you really are the one, if you are your biggest enemy at the end of the day, and every day it reoccurs, a cycle in which you allow yourself to have negative, mindless, immodest perceptions. If you're the one tormenting yourself, if you're the one putting yourself in agony, if you're the one who's abetting in this suffering, if you're the one allowing these manic delusions, this distress, if you're the one allowing it all to dishevel you, tap into you, then so we really do get to this stage where we start lamenting. You're like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's just you just have to ask yourself. You're like, damn. Like they say, Psalm what? His mercy endures forever. Um, there's just these verses in the Bible where they talk about God and that while God can be the most raging, jealous, um, God, God can show you vengeance, but God's mercy endures forever. And there's this prayer in Islam, and the third tenet in that prayer is, I seek forgiveness in the Lord. And just the idea that mercy, that the universe, the higher powers, the high spirits, they do extend you mercy. But then you genuinely feel it. You feel the mercy because you know that you continue in disorder. You understand what I'm saying? That you continue in disorder. And then you yourself, you start to wonder why. Why do they allow me to sit in this stupor? Like you start saying, "Smite me, strike me down." It's like when you see that person looking up at the sky, screaming in dismay. Well, we do that often as humans, even if it's silently, being acquiescent. Even if it's silent, sometimes you can just see it in a person's eyes when they're working behind the cash register at McDonald's, and they're like, "I don't want to fucking do this at all." They're like a dead NPC, just dead-eyed staring at you, and they just earned $2,800 in that register. That's $2,800 that they counted up themselves. They received that in their shift, and they walk home with like 72 dollars or something, if they made $14 an hour, which they may not have. It's that person right there. It's real life. Mercy? Why do you deserve mercy? What are we doing? We put ourselves through the ringer, and then the answer is, it is entertaining. Imagine, imagine if every single person just immediately had consequences for their karma. The world would all fucking collapse. Everyone would die in an instant. Imagine if that's how reciprocity worked. Imagine if God was as um much of a autist, a retard, like a brain deficient, neurodivergent modern man. Not even talking about, like, I'm not even talking shit, bro. Literally, most humans nowadays, in your neurocircuitry, we don't have the capacity to look for the long term. There's like this mono something in your brain. It's the name of the trail, and basically it's the shortest for seeking dopamine, seeking reward, your reward circuitry. And most humans, the way that we are now with our short form content and our messages that we can instantly send and receive, we have a very short circuited circuitry in our minds. We're troglodytes. We're becoming troglodytes. Like those albinoids of the caves in Spain before Yakub released them with his black powder. These prayers have to be ill received by the spirits. Mercy. Why do you deserve mercy? It is entertaining. You look at yourself this whole time. You've been seeing yourself. You've been coming to those black swans. Your perception's been changing. You've been realizing, oh, I am inept. I am obstinate. I am the problem. You have to admit the truth to yourself. You have to become accountable. Inaccountability will get you nowhere. Sitting and doing nothing will get you nowhere. And that by the end of all that, you go to your highest self and you beg. You say, "Why do you extend me mercy? Why do you extend me mercy? Why do you allow me to keep on from the depths of my heart, from the bottom of the well, climbing up? Why do you keep allowing me to try again?" It's like you've come to the demon, the strongest demon, and when you fought, your whole entire raiding party died. But you being stronger than all of them, you being the main character, you're now facing up with the demon in the strongest battle where all your power and it's not laying a scratch on the demon. Yet the demon, when it flicks you away and kills you, it keeps resurrecting you because you are stronger than everything else that was around. You are yourself. You are a monadic self. You have garnered that mind. You are where you need to be, and you're now doing battle, but you're still not winning. That's what life is. But you just keep getting respawned. You know, you're taking it on every day, and you'll never win. But you can always adapt. You can always come at it with a new strategy. It's like Doctor Strange with the Time Stone when he's fighting Thanos, seeing all the seeing all the different variations of what reality could be. Um, just just in reality, you can always attack from a new method. You can always add more to your approach, and that's why you're allowed to do so because you, at the end of the day, you perceive yourself as a spectacle. You get a kick out of continuing this odd uh perception of self-awareness. You get a kick out of being you in that manner. So love it, be with it. Be well. Go with God. Do well. Be well. I don't know. That was just my log this morning. I had to explain it so it didn't sound um super dry and so that people couldn't leave it up to interpretation